Something that I understood over time is that most of the time it's not about the deal or the business, it's who are the people behind the business. I hit a million, the company is doing well, but now because of the amount that I need to pay the IRS, the company goes in red.
If you are going to try to go too fast, you're going to run the wheels right off the wagon.
Mhm.
And then you're going to become known as a scammer. Where are you on your portfolio? What kind of numbers are you looking to hit as far as your own personal portfolio?
So, you know that when we were doing the Mount Everest, and I had a number in the beginning, but Pace and the group challenged me.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Life Without Limits with Melinda Duffie, where we talk about real estate, business, and spheres of influence. Um, just wanted to give a shout out to Pace Morby and the Owners Club community. Both myself and my guest Alexis, we are both in the Owners Club group. And we have just really been enjoying networking and building relationships and learning, which is what life is all about, right? Creating new opportunities and new relationships and scaling business and growing personally as individuals. So just wanted to take a moment and interview Alexis. Alexis, we met, oh gosh, it was at community camp in Arizona, in Montana.
In Phoenix. Well, it was,
Yeah, oh,
oh, that's right. But we
yes,
met before in Phoenix, right? And then in
yeah,
Montana, I guess that we had have the
yes,
chance.
yes. So, and then we started talking at the Boston retreat back
Yeah.
at the end of October.
Mhm.
So yeah, just Alexis, I'm going to give you the floor and you talk to us about what have you been doing? How did you get into real estate? Tell us about what your life has looked like up to this point, and then we'll also get into what you're doing now and what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it. And you know that it's interesting because we just right before we start recording, we were talking about that, we're doing business together, but also we're making friends here in the community, which is something that I really love and enjoy.
Yes.
And it's interesting because it's any time that, not any time, but sometimes when I'm making new friends, these are the real people that I end up doing business with, which is it's really cool because when we are doing business together and we have a good relationship as well as friends, most of the time communication flows and the business flows. Something that I understood over time is that most of the time it's not about the deal or the business, it's who are the people behind the business or
Yes.
the deal in the real estate industry. My background, so let's start with 2006. So I'm a business owner. I operate I started my first business. It was or it still is it's a tech company. I started it only with $2,000 in capital. Before that, my professional background, I was a sales director in a multinational company, and my wife, she was a financial analyst in a multinational company. And then suddenly I come up with this idea and I told her, hey, you know what? With my experience in sales and with your experience in finance, what if we start a business? I know that businesses has different or more than two departments, but I think that the one of the two most important departments is sales because it's the one that brings the income, and finance because it's the one that handles the income that is coming in, right?
Yep.
So she was sold in the idea, and but we didn't have capital at the time. Actually, we started it with 2000, but it wasn't liquid. I started it. I brought that capital from a credit card, and First year we made 60 grand, next year 180, the next year we did 690, and then the fourth year we hit a million, which we were like super excited. Oh my God, we hit a million. But then when our CPA were doing our income taxes, we noticed that even that the company wasn't green, when we needed to, draft or the check or write the check that we needed to pay to the IRS, we ended up going in red. And I was like, wait a second. Doesn't there's something here that doesn't make sense? Because I hit a million, the company's doing well, but now because of the amount that I need to pay the IRS, the company goes in red. Yeah, that's the way it is. That was her answer, and I didn't buy the answer. So I started to look for options. I was like, it might be a way, to be in compliance with the government, but at the same time, makes sense that I'm doing or I'm running a business. Because at the end, I was like, if this is the way to be a business owner, I'm gonna sell the business. I'm not gonna continue, working for the government. Anyway, so I ended up in real estate, and that's why 2012 I bought my first fix and flip. I did well, and then I continued to buy. I was doing fix and flip rentals and so on. I mean, I can continue the journey, but I'm not sure if you want to stop me there or want me
No,
to
keep going. Keep going.
keep going. Okay, so what happened is that two things happened. I was running my tech company; it was doing very well, but also I noticed that anytime that I was doing a fix and flip, yes, I was making 30, 50 grand here and there, 70 grand here and there. But it was like, but I don't need more money because, my primary source of income, it was the tech company. So I was like, why I need more money? And when I'm saying more money is in the bank account. So I was looking for other options to invest that money, and that's where I started to invest in rentals. And then I was like mixing both strategy until 2022, where I was doing real estate part time. Again, I was running my tech company. But in 2022, I remember having a conversation with my wife. It was during the summer, and I told her, you know what? I think that we are at the point the business is running by itself. We have employees here in the U.S. We have employees in Puerto Rico, because I'm originally from Puerto Rico. We have employees in Colombia as well. We have a beautiful team in Colombia that runs the Latin America market. And I told her, you know what, the business is running by itself. What if I get all in real estate and start buying more aggressively, and create more wealth, thinking, about our future. So I joined. This is funny because at the time, I was following Jerry Norton. And I remember seeing him watching an interview that he did with Pace. And in that interview, I was like, who is this guy that is talking about creative finance? And he caught my attention. I started to follow him. And then, like, maybe 2 months later, I joined Sub2. And my life changed drastically. I was like doing or trying to do everything, wholesale, cold calling. I was like doing everything. I think that everybody goes through the same
Yeah.
season or journey in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that at some point, I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to buy something, but I was in the morning dial calls, making call calls, uh, doing everything. Anyway, so at some point, Pace said on a Zoom call, he said, "You know what? I was invited to speak at a multifamily event. I'm going to that event. I'm going to give away all the tickets so you guys can come in and we can hang out." That was the first time that I met Pace in person. But in this multifamily event, something happened to me because, again, as a business owner, I'm very it's very common for me to have conversations about profit and loss statement, balance sheet, cash flows, budgeting, things related to HR, employees, and so on. So
Right.
in this conference or this multifamily event, all the speakers, yes, they were speaking about real estate, but they use words like profit and loss, budgeting, employees in the multifamily space. These are, people that they do, real high level stuff like syndications. And in that conference, I had a revelation moment that, in the multifamily space, because you're buying a property, but essentially you're buying a business that is supported or is backed by a property, but at the end it's a business where you're buying it. And um, and I got very involved with it. I met two groups, and then I joined one group, and I worked with them, and we raised capital on that deal. We bought it. We bought a 170 unit deal. We bought it for 19.5 million. We raised on that one 11 million. And then 5 months later, I met another group. We bought a small asset, 4.7 million, 30 unit. Actually, we're about to complete the full cycle on that deal. And it was, two great experiences that I had. I learned a lot. For me, it was very easy to process the information again because of my business owner experience. And I helped a lot of people that, they were raising capital for the group, or they were, it was their first experience as a GP, but they didn't understand the words, and multifamily is a different world.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I helped them out, with the financials and things like that. Even that it was my first or second experience, again because of my business owner experience, it was easy for me to process the information and help them out. So after that, that was 2000, between 2000 and 2022 and 2023. But then in 2023, at the end of the year, well, that year I did the two syndications, but also I lent money out. I did fix and flip. I did wholesale. I did everything. I don't regret, but at some point when I was writing down my 2024 goals, I
Mhm.
felt like all over the place. I was like, this is cool, but I don't see myself doing all these
Right,
strategies. I need to focus myself only on one or two strategies.
right,
I love the syndication. I don't mind to do another syndication, but I think that I'm gonna, and this is me, thinking
mhm,
at the time. I think that I'm gonna buy small assets that maybe I can control by myself, or maybe JV with one or two partners, and
mhm.
not necessarily buy a large asset that have maybe five, six GPs and hundred of LPs involved. Again, I don't mind to do another deal, and actually, I'm entertaining one deal right now, but it's not something that I'm gonna put all my effort on. So
Right.
I'm gonna focus on small assets, and I like the idea about co-living. So what happened in 2024? I bought a small asset, 8 unit, with a IJV on that deal with another partner. We still that deal. 8 unit, we bought it only. It was a sub two loan, a sub two deal with a sub two loan at 5%,
Mhm.
and then we got in only with 10 grand. It was the entry fee.
Nice.
So it was a great deal. The deal is cash flowing right now. We stabilized the property. Then I bought a 10 unit deal in Atlanta, and I started, to buy other small asset either by myself or with another partner. And basically, that's kind of like my journey in a summary.
Yeah, that's great though, because you did realize at some point in time, why am I trying to spin all of these plates? Where do I need to focus my attention and my goals, and, working through those?
Yes, and again, I don't regret because I learned a lot. But
Yeah.
doing so many things at the same time, I don't think that is productive. I know there's people that can handle it. Pace is one of them. He can
Yeah.
handle a couple of things simultaneously. But this is a skill, that I think that you need to develop, and maybe I haven't developed that skill yet. I can handle a couple of things simultaneously, but real estate related, I think that uh, putting all my efforts in one or two strategies. Actually, I'm doing three strategies because the third one, it wasn't intentional. I'm doing midterm rental as well, and I
Okay.
love it. But in this case, I have a team in place. The business is running by itself, and everything happened not intentionally. Again, I long story short, I bought a sub to deal. This is a good one. A wholesaler brings this deal to me,
Mhm.
and he said, I have a sub to deal. The entry fee is low. I'm asking only for the assignment fee. The seller is not asking for anything. So with 5 grand you're in. Cool. What's the interest rate? 8%. Forget about it. That was like right away, forget about it. Okay, cool. But then that night kept like thinking on this. I was like, I told him right away, forget about it, but I never checked anything, like the
Right.
mortgage statement and other things. So the next day, I called him again. Hey, can you send me the mortgage statement? I just kept thinking on the deal. Yeah.
Mhm.
So he sent me the mortgage statement. So what happened? Yes, the deal it was at 8%, but the mortgage has been paid down by the seller for 22 years.
Oh, nice.
Meaning that it was that even that the loan it was at 8%, the loan had only 8 years left on the loan.
Yeah.
When I did the math, it was less than 1% because most of the payment were towards going towards principal.
Right. Right.
So immediately I bought the deal, and I bought it only because of the terms, right? But the property as a long-term rental um, don't cash flow. So the mortgage the mortgage payment is 1,100, and as a long-term rental, the rentals in the area are between 11 to 1,200 per month. Okay, cool. So while I was rehabbing the property, it was just cosmetic, paint and flooring.
Mhm. Right.
In Squad Up, I met this lady, and I had this conversation with her. And she told me that she was doing midterm rental as a management company,
Uh-huh.
and I told her about this deal, and she said, "Yeah, I mean, maybe I haven't done any deal in the Toledo area, but I might be interested in. So let me look at it." So she did the underwriting, and she said, "You know what? I think that we can rent this out as a midterm rental between 3,000 to 3,500." So I was like, "Okay, cool. So let's do it." I furnished the whole house.
Yeah.
I spent only 7 grand
Nice.
with Ashley furnitures, but I bought them in Big Lot, not in Ashley, because in Ashley it would have been like 30 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I bought them in Big Lots. I spent only 7 grand, and we finished the whole house in 2 weeks. We got a contract immediately
Wow.
on this deal, on this property, and it's been cash flowing, grows 3,500, and my mortgage is 1,100.
Nice.
So, and again, because of that relationship,
Mhm.
I ended up renting out another unit that I had vacant for 2 years. So 2 years ago, I bought a fourplex where three units are 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and all those three units were rented since then. But the fourth unit is a studio, and for some reason, no one's like it. It's a studio. It seems like people are looking for 2 bedrooms or
Right.
two or three bedrooms.
Yeah.
So that studio's been vacant for 2 years. So I told her immediately, "Hey, I have this studio. Do you think that we can rent it out as a midterm rental?" When she looked up, she said, "Yeah, it's 5 minutes from the hospital, one of the largest hospital here in the area." So she listed it. We furnished it, and she listed it. And again, in 2 weeks, we rented out. So that studio, as a long-term rental, it was supposed to be rented at 500, and we have it on midterm rental for $1,000, so twice the price.
Nice.
So again, I never planned to get into the midterm rental, but going back to uh, what we were talking about in the beginning, when we are making friends, I
Yes.
think that the business um, strategies or maybe the way that we do business flows automatically, right?
Yes, it does. It does. And like you say, uh, a lot of times we do fall into things. It's not something that we planned. We've got, our day to day that we're doing. But as we are building relationships and we're clicking with certain people, then that just opens up so many more doors. And then the possibilities are greater. And then things that we wouldn't have considered before, that happens. And midterm rentals, I think if I were going to do a rental, I would go for the midterm rental. I have actually been a tenant in a midterm rental, and man, that surely is nice.
It is.
It's very nice, and especially if you don't want to, if you're not needing or wanting to stay there that long, you don't have to drag a lot of stuff with you. You don't have to worry about the mattress and refrigerator and all of those things. So yeah, I love that concept.
Yeah, I really love it as well. And actually because of that, because we've been doing very well on these two deals that I never planned, to get into as a midterm rental operator. Now I'm working on two projects. I'm rehabbing these two properties, and my plan is definitely rent them out as a midterm rental.
Mhm.
Again, the cash flow is very high, and I really love the cash flow. I don't mind to do a fix and flip here and there because makes 70 or 80 grand, 50 grand. Um, it doesn't bother anyone, right? But again, I have my tech company. I don't need like more money in my bank account,
Mhm.
so I I am really getting to the any sort of deal that makes cash flow. I really love cash flow.
Yeah, yeah, and especially when you're cash flowing a couple of grand a month.
Yes, yes. I don't want to cash flow $200. I know people that they're buying properties to cash flow $200. It's I won't do that, to be honest.
Yeah,
But there's markets. Toledo is one market that cash flow is very high, and it's still for years. It's been
yeah,
for years.
right. So, what is your advice as far as what are you looking for? What's your buy box for midterm rentals?
So for midterm rentals, I don't have any specific buy box, to be honest. But what I'm looking at is that this is my strategy, and it's the same strategy that I'm using for co-living or PadSplit, right?
Okay.
So I'm applying the BERT strategy. Why? Okay, if I get a deal, if I buy a cash deal or maybe a sub to deal,
Hmm.
there's always more money that you need to invest in the deal in order to convert that property into a pass split or maybe a midterm rental.
Right.
However, if I use a fix and flip loan, and I'll give you my numbers so you can have an idea. For example, um, the midterm rental that I'm working on right now, I bought this property distressed with 80 grand. I mean, 80 grand, it was the purchase price. So because I come up with a fix and flip loan and my lender gives me 90% loan to value, I
Hmm.
came up only with 8 grand as a down payment and then closing costs. I closed with $13,000, something like that. It's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the lender covers the rehab, and my rehab budget on this one is $40,000. So if you think about it, it's 80 grand plus 40,000. So I'm all in 120. The
Hmm.
ARV on this property is 220, meaning that once I have the property rehabbed, I'm going to get a DSCR loan at 80%, meaning that I get 176. I
Right.
paid the lender off and I got left over 56 grand, without closing costs. Let's say that I have net $45,000 at the end. So
Right.
essentially, with those $45,000, that I'm going to pocket, I can buy the furniture. Maybe I spend 20 grand, 30 grand, I don't know, and I still have money left over in my pocket. And then I have a mortgage now that is paying maybe 1,200 per month, but I'm renting this unit out as a midterm rental for 3,500. So that's my strategy. I'm getting into the deal. So the way that I'm explaining or I describe this to everybody is like the lender is paying me to buy properties.
Yeah.
Basically, the property is free, and he's paying me to buy the property, not only in the entry at the
Right.
beginning, but also I'm getting, the tenant is paying my cash flow then.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Exactly.
that strategy. Yeah. And so, what markets are you doing this in? Only Toledo, or are you branching out?
So midterm rental just in Toledo, but co-living I'm working on Atlanta.
Okay.
I have a very nice team in Atlanta, and I'm applying the same strategy. So very similar. The property that I'm working on right now, I bought it for 185,
Mhm.
and I put into this one 60 grand. Again, I closed with this one like 25,000 dollars, something like that, because it was $18,000 down plus closing costs. It was like 25, 26, something like that.
Right.
So the lender is covering the rehab cost, right? And this one is 60 grand, and the property appraised 335. So
Nice.
I'm getting a DSCR loan. In this one, I don't have a lot of money left over, so I'm getting back like 10 grand only. But again, if you think about it, I get into this property for free, and the lender is paying me 10 grand. So basically, the lender is paying me to buy more properties and increase my portfolio, and then have a cash flow, as in this case, as a PadSplit.
That's awesome. So, where are you on your portfolio? What kind of numbers are you looking to hit as far as your own personal portfolio?
So you know that when we were doing the Mount Everest, and I had a number in the beginning, but Pace and the group challenged me,
Yeah.
and because of that challenge, I ended up increasing the numbers to the next 100 years. I want to buy 1,000 rooms. That means the average, in my case, I'm averaging 10 rooms per property. That means that I need to buy 100 properties in the next 5 years, or 20 properties per year. Basically, that's my goal, which is doable, right? 20
Yeah.
properties is a reasonable number, in one year. I know people are doing more than that.
Right. Right. Absolutely. No, I could easily see you doing that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. That's cool. So, what is your advice to someone that has never done this, may not have much or any money? Um, what what are those pearls of wisdom that you would throw at brand new people?
Yeah, you know that a lot of people ask me that question, and the first thing that I ask them is that, okay, so you need to know where you are at, in terms of, you have experience,
Mhm.
or do you have capital, or you don't have experience, you don't have capital either.
Right.
So depending on that, because there's people that they don't have experience, but they have capital. So in that case, it is better to get into the deal with another operator than its capital.
Right.
The same way, if you have experience but you don't have capital, no, you have a couple of steps ahead of other people, and
Right.
you can continue the business. But if you don't have capital, and if you don't have experience either, you have something that is very unique. You have skills,
Mhm.
and you are the only person in this world with your name. Even if you have siblings, no one is like you. So you have special skills that God gave you. So use those skills to work as a volunteer with other operators and learn during the path. People all the time are thinking about money, and I get it. We need money, to pay our bills,
Right.
but money is not the only tool that we have to do the business. You have, again, your skills, and you use the skills that God gave you and
Right.
apply them, and work with people that needs maybe someone like you and learn the business.
Mhm. I like that. Using what's in your hand is what I always like to say. So
Absolutely.
if you've got someone that has really no money, they've got little experience or no experience, thinking about what you can bring to the table. If you've got great organizational skills, you know how to organize, make sure that a project can stay on time, communication, those type of things. Those are some things that people can bring to the table.
Yes. Operators are always busy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that if you can volunteer yourself with another operator, he
Mhm.
won't say no.
Right.
Another hands in the business or in the organization is always good.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So tell me one last thing before we wrap up. What do you need if there's somebody watching this podcast that can help you? There's something on your needs list or something on your, this is what I have and this is what I can offer. Tell us about that. How can we
Yeah.
network?
So I think that I was the other day thinking on that. And my portfolio is growing to the point that I'll definitely need more hands-on on the business,
Mhm.
from the operations, from operations, and maybe an asset manager could be a good person to have in the organization or in the team.
Right.
Also, 1,000 rooms is a is a good number. So I
Yes,
have capital, but money is not unlimited. So at some point, I'll need capital. And I was I don't want because of the two syndications that I went through. Uh, Capital raising is a full time business, so I don't want to take out of my time to capital raise.
hmm,
Instead of that, I can use my time to take down more deals. But if
right.
I have a partner that is capital raising for my deals, that way I can grow exponentially. Because again, I know that we can do both, and I have done both. But dealing with the wholesaler or the real estate agent, and going to title, and then at the same time raising the capital, it's like two roles at once. It's overwhelming.
It
So
is.
to partner up with someone that can capital raise for my deals, and that way I can scale up faster.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, are there any parting words, ideas that you would like to discuss?
Regarding capital raising or regarding the deals?
Anything? Yeah, anything that comes to mind that you're like, yeah, I need to talk about that. Yeah.
So I think that people always are looking to do more, and I understand that. You know what? The other day I had a conversation with one of my best friends, and I was telling him that and I think that we saw this recently in the last 2 years. People were over leveraging themselves, and getting capital from PMLs, hard money lenders, and at some point they couldn't handle the business. They grew so fast that they couldn't handle the business.
Yes.
I think that growth is important,
Mhm.
but growth in a way that you can sustain the business. At
Yeah.
the end, there's a lot of people involved, people that works directly with you and people that works indirectly with you, like vendors, the hard money lender, the PMOs that are providing the capital, the even companies that sometimes we don't think about, like the utility company, the power company, the gas company. If you fail, there's a lot of people involved, not
Yes.
only the people that work directly with you, but again, the companies that are giving you service, the contractors, the utilities company, and so on. So there's a lot of in place here. So it's very important to grow and continue growing, but consciously and in a way that you can handle and sustain this growth.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, Alexis. In my experience, I've seen a lot of that. It goes back to all the sparkly things. People, they get so distracted by all these things and they see all these properties and they're like, they can see what it could be or see where they could be. But then the bottom line is you have to be able to, one, create those dynamic relationships and spheres of influence, and then nurture those relationships and make sure that they're long term and they're sustainable. And if
Yes.
if you are going to, get into real estate or any other business, if you are going to try to go too fast, you're going to run the wheels right off the wagon.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then you're going to become known as a scammer,
Hmm.
dishonest, stealing money. And most people find themselves in a really bad situation where they may be a very good person, but they've gotten completely overwhelmed. And then they stick their head in the sand like it's just going to go away instead of facing it head on and being like, talking to those people and saying, look, I have totally overextended myself. I had no idea this was all going to come down. And instead of asking for help, they default and they disappear. And
Which
then
is the worst thing that they can do.
it's the worst thing, instead of realizing, and they're on the other side, knowing that you're partnering with people that aren't going to be like taking a baseball bat to you when you come to them and say, look, I need some help. Not that I'm not trying to pay you or not this and not that. I just need some help. What can we do to go through this to where we can turn this around and we can all get out of this and it be successful? So it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. So
Yeah.
um,
Which is, it's, I know that it's uncomfortable to
yes,
have that type of conversation, but I
yeah,
think that is more uncomfortable to hide yourself and
yes,
have sleepless nights and maybe get sick emotionally. I don't know. What's
yeah, yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
things could happen.
yeah. And at the end of the day, doesn't the truth always come out?
That's
At
true.
some point in time, it's always going to come out. And
Always.
that's a great way to ruin your reputation and really your entire business, and then you don't have anything to rebuild from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always. Always.
yeah,
And I get the point that, for example, this is an exciting business, and sometimes we get excited, we want more deals. It happened to me, but we will need to have self-discipline to say to yourself, not necessarily to other people. It's like, I can't move on with another deal. I have three, four, five, whatever the amount is that you can handle simultaneously. Let me take off the plate maybe one or two deals and let then move on. Deals are gonna be always. We're gonna have deals always.
always. Yes,
Always. So it's just a matter to have the self-discipline to say no. I can't move on until I take these two out of my plate.
that's right. Yeah. And that takes maturity and wisdom to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, it
I
does.
agree.
Well, Alexis, it has been a wonderful time to talk with you today.
Thank
And
you for having me.
absolutely. And look forward to having you again, which we will definitely do.
Anytime. Yeah.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And to our audience, thank you so much for tuning in today, and hit like, subscribe, and comment with any questions. We'll be glad to get back to you with any questions, any way that we can help. And of course, we love to network. So that's another aspect of, social media. And hope that this has been helpful to everybody. And even if you have any ideas for future shows, any other content you would like to see from other guests or Alexis, what things that we could talk about on your next podcast. So we appreciate the community, and appreciate all the relationships, and really do enjoy having a good time doing these.
Me too. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you on the next podcast.
Absolutely.